in essence, what we're going to do is start playing with different slopes. Where I might draw one at a 512 and it hits there, and I think, you know what, I'm not high enough or too high. And then all you got to do is come back and draw another one that may be a 412 and see which one matches what you want to do. Now, keep in mind that if you are doing a shingled roof like we are, what's your lower limit of the slope? Where's that warranty run out that I told you about? It's at a 412. Now, you can take them lower, but now you're just messing with that, and then we have what we call ice dams that occur underneath them also, once you get to a 312. So if you need this sloper, so if you need this roof lower than a 312 or lower, you need to go metal with it, really for the length of the structure, because you can go with that. All right, so let's just go ahead and start playing with some different slopes and see what's going to work for us here. Now, remember when we did these, all we did was came to the outside, we drew a line, and then we used the offset command, right? So offset 12, that's your horizontal distance. And I'm just going to do half of my exterior here, so I'm going to look at a 412 right off the bat. So I offset up 4, that's this line. I'm going to put these on a couple different layers. So there's a 412. I'm going to real quickly come in and do a 5 and a 612 also.
How you get the other one, the red one and the white one?
This is a 712. This one's a 612. Or excuse me, I think I'm one too many. This one's a 6. This one's a 5. And this one's a 412. So once I had, are you asking how I did that? So I offset this one 12 inches. And then all I did was offset one at 4, draw that line, extend it. Delete it, offset it, 5. Draw the line, that's your angle. They all meet right here, right? I don't think I want the 612. Okay, that goes over the top of my roof. If I had to have a 612, could I do it? You bet I could. I'd have to come in here and I'd have to build something right there to fill that gap in, obviously. But I could do that. It's going to look kind of funny. Yeah. We'd actually do a dual pitch truss. We'd just do one single pitch and put it in the center. This one I kind of like. I'm about halfway up the roof. If I don't want it so pronounced, the 412 works pretty well too. Now, I would recommend really on this one that you go with the 4 or 5, because remember, we're going an 812, right? So the 4 and the 5 are going to appear very similar to exactly half, which again is symmetrical, right? And isn't symmetrical, people find that attractive. So it's going to have a good outside look. Now, the other thing that's going to happen in the future is that we're going to put some windows up here, right? That are going to be somewhere in here. Those will follow the interior vaults of the house, which is going to be what? It's going to be a 412. Okay, so probably a 412 is your best choice here, because you're going to see this in several places in the house. I'm saying with 412. Okay, so there's my line. Now, let's go ahead and finish building this thing. Remember, that's the bottom of that 2x4 on the truss. Okay, so remember the process here. I need to now offset 3.5 inches to get to the top of that cord. Right there. Now, I don't really need insulation here, so there's no reason to go high on this. Remember, we did a 1-foot energy heel on our house? But we don't need it over the deck because we're not insulating this. Okay. So I'm going to offset 3.5 inches for my top cord of this truss. Then once I get that, I need my fascia. Remember, you're looking at the 2x4 in this scenario, not this scenario right here. So that's 3.5 inches, right? So we draw that in. Now my fascia comes from the top back down 6 inches, right? And that's why we do this, to find that. Because I'm doing an elevation. So offset 6. And that comes down. There is the bottom of my fascia. What's our eave distance? We ought to keep that constant. Yep, so let's go ahead and throw this out to the side. Okay, so you should be looking something like this now.
So when you're finding your slope, you go, I don't get what 512 and 412.
Remember, we call out the slope of a roof with rise over run. Okay. Now, when we say a 412, that means it's rising 4 units for every 12 it takes in the horizontal direction. If I call it a 512, it's going to rise 5 units for every 12. Now, you can run the trig on that and get that angle and draw the line at an angle, or you can just use the offset command to do it. Because if I've got, and this is the best way in my mind to do it, since you got a great tool like CAD sitting there for you. If I have a vertical line in here and a horizontal line, and I offset this one, offset 12, I'm going to get myself a line out here, right, where this dimension's 12 inches. Now, I know this outside point, that's my set point. Okay, that's on the outside of this wall, right here. Then I'm going to take this line, and I'm going to offset it up. Let's say on this one I'll go a 412, 4. Okay, so I'll bring that up, and I'm going to get this line right here. There's where those two meet, where I've come up 4 over 12, right? Then all we got to do is draw a line. There's the angle. If it was a 512, I leave the same 12 out here, offset it up 5, you're going to get this line. What do? Find that point and that point. There it is. Okay. All right, is everybody kind of getting to here? Now, how does that help us? Didn't we, when we did our roof plan, did we know where this ended? Didn't we leave that open? And say, we'll figure this out when we draw it, do you know it now? Okay. Now, what you gotta do here is understand what two dimensions you have. In the roof plan, we are in a plan view, what two dimensions do you have? In a top view. This goes right back to the glass box, folks. Width, depth, right? That's top view is width and depth. Okay. Well, here is a front view. What dimensions does this have? Width and height. So I've got width. So the distance from like this peak or this wall, whatever, I can measure this way or this way, can't I? And that's that width dimension. I can take it right back to my floor plan. I'm going to come off the peak because I know the peak's center. Okay, and that was a pretty easy draw on my roof plan. So all I'm going to do here is do the distance command. And I'm going to go from here to the top where I meet there. Now, I'm going to hit F2 real quick so this stays up. When you do distance, it gives you the full distance, which was the slope. It also gives you X and Y. Okay, we needed the X value here, right? Width. Okay, in this case, I had 10, 1, I think that says 9/16. I've got 10 foot 1 and 9/16 as my X direction. What do you folks get? I had 10 foot 1 and 9/16 inches. What'd you get, Declan?
I haven't finished that view, so I'm just
So how do you?
Okay. Has anybody got this? Hit F2. Once you did the distance command, hit F2. That gets you your text window. You got to run the distance command first. Jess, did you get it? Am I the only one drawing here?
No, I got
Andy,
it.
did you get it?
I haven't done that part of the house.
Majed?
I got it.
No, I'm better than that.
Okay. What'd you get?
The X one,
Yes.
14 feet, 760.
Okay. How wide is your deck?
That's what I'm doing.
What did measure from the top of the peak to the top of where it hits that roof? Right, right there to the top of the peak of the house. Peak of the house, the peak of the house, right there. Okay. Are you there, Sean?
I'm kind of with Declan, I'm still drawing those elevations.
Okay.
So it's 11,
Okay.
11.
So that's your distance. Okay. Now, once I've got that, okay, once you draw this in, you now know where the back of that ends. Now, I just use my X value to find that. You can draw a line straight down, you can dimension it, you can do whatever you want to get, however you get that number. But what you're looking there for is the X. Now, what that means is, I'm going to come back down here to my roof plan. Where the heck was that thing? Don't tell me I deleted that. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is right here. Okay, so I'm going to come down to here. This is my roof plan. Well, I just measured my peak down to where that hits, right? That 10 foot. So all I'm going to do here is do an offset. So I'm going to do offset 10 foot, what do I have? 1.562. Throw that out. Okay. That means now that this is gone, all the way to there. This one's gone. And there is that shed roof. Okay, so I know where the back of it is now. Okay, it sounds like I'm a little ahead of you folks. That's kind of rare. Usually I don't. So what I'm going to do here is stop here. Now, I would like you to preview a little bit of the text, and let's draw on our elevations today. Well, before I stop, let me just real quickly, and let me do this not as a group. How am I gonna deal with the soil on this guy? Okay, let me go back to this. This is the other thing you need to start thinking about. Because once I have this, now I can draw my balusters in, I can finish my deck around here, project all my windows in, blah, blah, blah. Okay. By the way, that same 412 slope, okay, that is also going, let me just copy that from here to here. There's my interior vault, by the way, of the house. That's going to tell me where my windows are going to go up here. So that'll be the next step, but you folks need to get this done for that. Now, when I talk about the soil dropping off, okay, let me just make sure you understand where this view is projected from. So I'm looking into the house right here, right? Okay. We need this to drop off here to where I'm down in here. Okay. How am I going to deal with my soil? You're going to do it the same way you dealt with as a roof. Okay. You're just going to start playing games. Here's the bottom of my soil. Now, as a general rule, what you always do here is, if I don't want to put artificial means of holding this soil, I just want it to be a natural slope, which is the best way. Anytime you have to build something and you aren't taking advantage of nature, you're making it more expensive and you're prone to have something break in the future. So if you can stick with nature, do it. Okay, that's that whole lead thing that just should be part of what you do. A 3-to-1 slope will carry grass. If you need to go steeper than that, then we got to start dealing with drainage, things of that nature. If you go steeper than a 3-to-1 hill, it will erode and grass will not grow on it. That's pretty standard throughout industry. Now, we can do some other things, like we can do tiered and shrubbery, and we can do retaining walls and all that, but try and stay away from it. Because your client wants this to be fairly basic. So, I'm going to do a 1-to-3 slope here. Okay. So I'm going to set off 12 inches up, that's my 1 foot, and then I'm going to offset 36 inches horizontal. That's my 3 foot. You could just do 1 and 3, same angle, doesn't matter. So there is a 1-to-3 slope. Okay. Now if I go ahead and put that right on the basement floor, right here on this corner, and then extend it up, okay, you're going to see I hit back here inside the garage. Okay, well, that's not going to work, right? Because this garage is not going to support itself at that point. It's going to start pushing this soil and start tilting. Okay. So what I would recommend is you try and get yourself 4 feet away. So I want to make sure I have a good soil horizon out here. I'm going to move this thing from here to here. That is my slope line of my soil. Let me put it on a layer you can see and trim that up. Okay. So that line represents really kind of where my slope is. Now, I wanted a good 4 feet up here, because I got a door that comes off of here, right? Okay. I need to walk around up here, you know, maybe even want 6 feet here. Come down here, I'm hitting up on this wall. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's assuming that the ground level is right here. Is it right here? No, it's actually about a foot below that. Now, we don't know where the house is going to sit till we get to the site, but you want to give this a little bit of thought. I would prefer to have more like 6 feet up here, and then maybe start breaking that slope over. If I'm pushing a mower down 4 feet, I get to that edge, it starts drifting, right? Things of that nature. So we want to kind of pay attention to that. But that is going to be my maximum slope I can achieve, that 3-to-1 slope. If I got to get away from that, I'm going to have to go to some artificial means of retaining the soil. We'll deal with that once we come back from the site, but you want to think about it now. I'll expand on that a little bit tomorrow. Now, one thing I would like you to start doing, just to get ready for tomorrow, section 3 in your text. You're on about page 295. site planning. Now, we're going to give our site plan on this project a little bit of a short rift. By that, we're not going to go into it in a huge amount of detail. There is a reason for that. This is really a civil engineering drawing. Well, what's our next course?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering.
Okay.
I'm hitting site plans hard and heavy in there. So I will cover how we're going to display it, some of the things we take over, property ownership, how to draw it. That's what we're gonna cover. Now, all the amenities of saying, okay, we're gonna go ahead and put a septic tank in here, and we're gonna do all that, I'm gonna kind of leave out, because we'll pick it up in civil. If I got time, I'll put it in. If not, I won't. Okay? But you should start looking through this, because the first chapter really goes over property ownership and how things are placed on the map and how we determine that one line on the earth is somebody owns this side, somebody owns this side. Okay? And that's probably the most important and hardest concept to get. And that's right off the bat in the first chapter. I don't have anything else for you. You folks have any questions for me? So if it was me, what I'd like you to do on your time is I'd like you to get those elevations proceeded as far as you can today. Maybe spend an hour or so browsing through the text over multiple periods. Ask lots of questions. I know we're done at 12 today, but feel free if you're behind. The lab's open all afternoon till 10 o'clock tonight. Not yet. All right. Thanks for your time. The rest of the day is yours.
Off 60, you basically have that 2 weeks, and then we, maybe,